Hello, you, and welcome back to Whispers After 50. I'm Eleanor, and if you saw my last video, you know I bravely shared the heartbreak I experienced in my 70s. Today, I want to take you deeper into that story, specifically into the warning signs, those subtle red flags I chose to ignore. And believe me, hindsight is 2020, and the lessons learned were incredibly painful but vital. When you reach our age, you might think you've seen it all, that you're wise enough to spot trouble from a mile away. I certainly did. After years of living a full life, I felt confident in my judgment. But as I opened my heart to a new relationship with David, my desire for companionship, for that special connection, blurred my vision. I saw the signs, but I didn't truly see them. This isn't just about my story. It's about a common trap many of us fall into, especially when we're seeking love and connection later in life. It's about how hope can sometimes make us overlook what our gut is screaming at us. Have you ever looked back at a past relationship and thought, "Oh, I should have known"? Have you ignored those little whispers of doubt, hoping they'd just go away? If so, then this video is for you. I'm going to recount the slow, often confusing unraveling of a love I thought was real, and hopefully my painful lessons can help you protect your own heart. As I shared in my last video meeting, David on that senior dating app felt like a breath of fresh air. He was charming, intelligent, and initially made me feel so cherished. We'd go for long walks in the park, discussing books and music for hours. He'd bring me flowers, remember little details about my day. It was all so wonderful, so promising. I truly believed I'd found that companionship I'd longed for after my husband passed. But even early on, there were these tiny, almost imperceptible shifts, little things that didn't quite sit right. My first red flag, and looking back, it was a glaring one, was his vagueness about his past. Whenever I asked about his previous marriage or his children, he'd always steer the conversation away. He'd say things like, "That's all behind me. Now let's focus on us." Or, "My past is complicated. I don't want to burden you." I rationalized it, telling myself he was just trying to protect my feelings, or that he was a private person. I dismissed that nagging feeling in my gut, eager to believe in the perfect new beginning. Then came the inconsistency in his words versus his actions. He'd make grand plans, a weekend trip to a quaint bed and breakfast, a special dinner at a new restaurant, and I'd get so excited. But then at the last minute, he'd cancel with vague excuses, blaming work or sudden appointments. He'd apologize profusely, making me feel guilty for even questioning him. I told myself, things come up, he must be really busy. I wanted so much for these plans to materialize that I overlooked the pattern, the repeated disappointment. This was a slow erosion of trust, cloaked in sweet apologies. Another red flag was his growing need for control and my isolation. Initially, I found it endearing that he wanted to spend so much time with me. "I just can't get enough of you, Eleanor," he'd say. But soon it turned into subtle disapproval if I made plans with my friends or wanted to attend my weekly book club. He'd hint that he felt left out or that our time was being infringed upon. Slowly, I started declining invitations, putting my own hobbies and friendships on the back burner, all to please him. I told myself this was compromise in a relationship, but in reality, I was losing pieces of myself. I remember one evening, my friend Susan called to invite me to a concert, and David, sitting right beside me, made a face and shook his head subtly, telling me no. I made an excuse to Susan, and immediately I felt a knot of guilt in my stomach, a little voice telling me this wasn't right. The emotional manipulation was also a subtle, insidious red flag. Whenever I tried to express my concerns or feelings, he'd often turn it around on me. "You're too sensitive, Eleanor," or "You're imagining things." He'd make me feel like I was being unreasonable, needy, or even crazy. My own intuition started to feel unreliable because I was constantly being told my feelings were invalid. I began to doubt my own perceptions, trusting his version of reality over my own gut instincts. This was incredibly damaging to my self-confidence, something I only realized much later. The final and most devastating red flag was, of course, the betrayal and dishonesty. As I shared, I overheard that phone call. It wasn't just a friend. It was clear he had another romantic interest, someone he was making plans with, just as he had made plans with me. That moment, hearing those words, everything clicked into place. All the vagueness, the cancellations, the control, they all made sense. The pain wasn't just in the heartbreak. It was in the realization that I had willfully ignored all those warning signs. I had wanted to believe so badly that I chose to be blind. It was a moment of profound shock and a deep, crushing disappointment in myself for allowing it to go on for so long. In the aftermath of that painful revelation, as my heart was truly breaking in my 70s, I was forced to confront the truth. The tears flowed, but so did the clarity. I began to dissect those red flags, not to dwell on the past, but to truly learn from them. These are the invaluable lessons I wish I'd known much, much sooner. Lessons that have reshaped my life. The first, and perhaps the most vital lesson, always trust your gut. That nagging feeling, that quiet intuition, that little whisper of doubt. It's almost always right. When David was vague, or when he gave me those flimsy excuses, my gut clenched. But I dismissed it. Now I understand that my intuition is a powerful internal compass, a gift we all possess. Don't let your desire for connection override that inner wisdom. If something feels off, it probably is. The second lesson, non-negotiables are crucial. At our age, we've accumulated enough life experience to know what truly matters to us and what we absolutely cannot compromise on. For me, it's honesty, mutual respect, and personal independence. I was too quick to let go of these core values because I wanted a relationship so badly. Don't ever compromise your fundamental values for anyone, no matter how much you crave companionship. Set clear boundaries and stick to them. This isn't being rigid. It's about respecting yourself. Third, and this is something I have to remind myself of every single day, your self-worth is paramount. Your happiness and well-being should never be dependent on another person, especially not at this stage of life. I nearly lost a piece of Eleanor trying to please David, trying to make him stay. I gave up hobbies, pushed away friends. I've learned that tending to your own garden, your interests, your friendships, your family, and your inner peace must be your priority. Love should be an addition, a wonderful bonus, not a replacement for your self-worth. You are whole and complete on your own. The fourth lesson, communicate, don't assume. It's easy for us to assume people understand us or that certain things don't need to be said. But I realize that David's dishonesty and my own reluctance to directly address my doubts created a huge chasm. Clear, honest communication is the bedrock of any healthy relationship, regardless of age. If something bothers you, ask. If there's something you need, say it directly and calmly. It's better to have an uncomfortable conversation than to live with unspoken doubts. And finally, the lesson of forgiveness, for them, and most importantly, for yourself. Initially, I was filled with anger and bitterness towards David, and even more so towards myself for being foolish. But I quickly learned that holding on to resentment only harms me. I forgave David not because he necessarily deserved it, but because I deserved peace. And I also learned to forgive myself for my mistakes, for perhaps overlooking those signs, for trusting blindly. It's all part of the learning process, and every scar tells a story of survival and growth. My path to healing wasn't linear. It had its ups and downs. Some days I felt incredibly strong, and others I'd find myself sinking into sadness. I leaned on my trusted friends and family. They listened without judgment and reminded me of who Eleanor truly is. I also started taking a painting class, a hobby I'd neglected for too long, and reconnected with my book club. It was all about rediscovering joy in the small things, rediscovering my own strength, and the comfort of my own company. I've learned that true love doesn't always come in the package you expect, and sometimes the deepest love you can cultivate is the love for yourself. This journey of healing has ultimately reshaped my perspective, leading me to a place of unexpected peace. So while my heart was indeed broken in my 70s, it wasn't shattered beyond repair. It endured a significant test, and it emerged stronger, wiser, and more discerning. This experience taught me that vulnerability isn't a weakness, but a profound strength. And even in pain, there's immense growth. Life after 50, after 60, after 70. It's still full of surprises, challenges, and endless opportunities for love. In all its forms, not just romantic. Don't ever let the fear of heartbreak stop you from living fully or from opening your heart again. But do so with wisdom, with self-awareness, and with a heart that has learned to heal. Remember, those red flags are not there to scare you. They are there to guide you, to protect you. Listen to them. Have you experienced a similar heartbreak later in life? What red flags have you learned to recognize in your own relationships? Or what invaluable lessons have you gained from your own experiences? Please share your stories and your wisdom in the comments below. Your insights could truly help someone else navigating similar feelings, and together, we can learn and grow. If this story resonated with you, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Whispers After 50 for more authentic conversations about our life's beautiful journey. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thank you for watching, and always remember, every whisper of experience holds invaluable wisdom.